Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Uptake. I'm Paul Wilkie.
And I'm Janie Genosis.
Welcome to the Uptake, where we talk about all things PR, good and bad, interesting, not interesting, maybe interesting just to both of us. But I think we've got an interesting topic today. How you doing, Janie?
Oh, Paul, we just had a really interesting topic on that, didn't we? About how you doing? The answer is always good. And if you say more, apparently you're boring. So we won't talk
Exactly.
about that today, but I'm
No, we
good.
won't.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Um, I read an interesting article in Forbes the other day. It was, and the headline was "Spotting the Differences Between a Good and Bad PR Firm." And the author did four things to look for in in a PR firm. We've got thoughts on this.
We've got
So
on lots of things. So
lots of things. Most people don't want to know them. The four things that John put in his article, they're good. A couple of them we disagree with. So let's go through his four, and then I think we've got some more we want to.
So first up, John asked the question, what do their press releases look like? Paul, what do you think about that?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say hear the thing a lot when we go through this. I often say on potential client meetings is there's enough talent in the PR industry. We can all write, we can all pitch media, we can all develop content. So I feel like any good PR firm, any PR firm can write a press release. The challenge is, can their version that they're happy with it make it to the final version? And I think that's a more apt question because there are a lot of factors. If you judge a PR firm by the final version of a press release, they can't always take credit for that. There are lawyers, there are management that don't understand PR, how press releases or PR works, and that feel like they have to put their thumbprint on it. And a good PR firm can fight the good fight for something in a press release, but it always doesn't make it to the final version.
Right. And I want to direct people back to a previous uptake that we did. And one of the topics is why a press release is not a PR strategy. And a press release is important. Oftentimes they serve a really important purpose if you truly have news to announce, but it's this much of what we do. So yes, they should be able to write a good press release. Let's hope so. If they're
Yeah.
in PR, let's hope so.
I mean, if it's a bad press release, then yeah, ding them for that. But
Dump them. Yeah.
but don't give them full credit for it being bad. There are factors you don't know.
And let's define bad. So, bad meaning typos and misinformation, things like that. But bad sometimes is legal says you have to say it this way.
Yeah.
And it's very dry. And legal says you have to add this paragraph. And it really doesn't make sense to what you're talking about, but it has to be there. Those are the kind of things we don't want to be judged on. I think that that's not always our fault. And we sometimes have to do these things just to make sure we keep all the parties happy.
I think a great example of that is if you see a press release with two like four quotes in it, that may not be the sign of the PR firm. That just may be the sign of the company's like, oh, we've got to get a quote from the investor. We've got to get two different customer quotes. Oh, the CMO wants to be quoted, and so does the head of sales. So there's politics there's politics in anything, but there's politics also in press releases, and sometimes that's not the agency's fault.
Right. And we are going to talk a bit more about that later, but let's move on to John's next point, which is how often does the firm update their website and social media?
We'd get dinged for that, or at least we would have gotten dinged before you took over our website, Janie. There's a saying: the cobbler's children have no shoes,
And the plumbers have leaky pipes. Yep.
and that is usually apt with PR firms here. Our websites are the last things to get updated, and you know what? If a PR firm does a great job with updating their website, that's wonderful. Kudos to you. That's fantastic. That's something we put on the back burner because we're focused on getting our customer coverage, getting our customers' message out. I would love to say we regularly update our our website, but we don't. But we do, and when we do, it's usually great stuff. So go check it out. Everything's up to date on uprightcomms.com right now. But I don't necessarily think that's a great barometer for measuring a PR agency's success or failure.
Absolutely. I would also say that there are a lot of websites out there, and not PR firms, but just in general, that look really pretty, and there's no substance behind them. They could be fraudulent. There's some that make themselves look like a bank, and we work with some cybersecurity firms, and we hear all about these fraudulent things happening. There's some great people out there that are good web designers that might not necessarily be good PR people. So using that as your barometer is, let's just say, be careful with that. Maybe consider that, but don't make that one of your top 4 reasons to choose or not choose a PR firm.
Indeed. Now, the third one I absolutely agree with in the article, and it's ask who will handle your account. I can't tell you how many times a potential clients come to us and said, and asked, who's going to be our day-to-day? Is it going to be you? We've worked with PR firms before where, we get the bait and switch, we get the A team pitching, and then we don't get the people that say they're going to be there. So yes, absolutely. Make sure the people that say are going to be on the account are on the account.
That's right. That's an easy one. So we can move on to ask for references. What do you think about that one, Paul?
I have mixed feelings about asking for references. Now let me table that. A potential client about to hire a PR firm should absolutely ask and check for references. Where I get concerned is when they ask for references too early, or they ask for references or with an agency they may or may not go with, because what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on our clients and past clients, and I don't love leaning on them for references frequently. You think about how many potential clients we have and how many business pitches we go through, and business we either get or don't get, or we never had a shot at. I don't like compromising our relationships with our clients unless it's something unless they're absolutely locked into using us and they want to hear about what we do and how we work and all that.
Right, I agree. And I think another thing to think about is when you're looking for a PR firm, if you have other companies, partner companies, friends that have companies that are happy with their PR firms, ask them, who do you use? And that there's a reference right there. And we get a lot of clients that way because someone will call us and say, oh, we talked to so-and-so and they used you for this project, or they're using you right now and really happy with you. Let's talk. And so you have a built-in reference right there with people that you already know and trust, because if a PR firm can't give you a good reference to talk to, that would be a concern. I think that would be a red flag as well. Just like when you apply for a job, not all of your bosses may have loved you, but the ones you're going to give as references did. So you want to make sure, that everybody you share as a reference loves you, which any PR firm would do if they were asked for a reference. So better ask your friends, ask people ask someone who you see a really great PR campaign, or you see them in the news a lot. Ask them, who's your PR firm? You guys seem to be doing a really good job, and use that as your barometer.
Great points all around. And to the author's credit of this article, all 4 of those reasons are valid. They've got merit. We just disagree with a couple of them. But as an added bonus, we've added some to the list. So the first on that list is, do you trust who you're talking to? Public relations is about relationships. It's about chemistry. You may have found the best PR firm in the world, but if you don't like the people on the team, or you don't trust the team, that's a red flag. And, can you hop on a call with them for a half hour once a week? Do you want to hop on that call? Just because you like them doesn't mean they're great PR people, but it sure helps. If you like them and you trust them, you're going to have a great relationship. And I'll tell you what, if we like our clients and we love the people we work with, we're going to bend over backwards for them.
That is very true. We do. We become, I feel like with a lot of our clients, we are almost employees of the same company. We feel like we work side by side with them rather than as this out there firm. It feels very connected when we have clients that gel with us, and we see those results much better too.
A lot of what comes out of those relationships are great ideas, great collaboration, and great results. It's a good client agency relationship is a well-oiled machine. It just works. Things happen, things get done, things progress. So the bottom line is, do you like and do you trust who you're talking to?
Yeah, super important. And that's something that you just have to feel. I think that's something that you get the feel for when you talk to them, when you're exploring, should we work together, and ask questions and see how they answer. And how comfortable are you with proposing your questions to them, and do they seem to care about you and what you do, and is there chemistry? Like, it's a little like dating, but you go on a date with somebody and sometimes, oh, right away, this one's not going to work. And then they're like, yeah, this one has some potential, or wow, so you want to be at least potential, better yet, wow.
So next on our list is, does the PR firm have great solid media chops? And, it's one of those things you may not be able to tell from talking to them during the screening process, but ask them, who do you know at TechCrunch? Who do you work with at Axios? When was the last time you you got a story in the New York Times? And a good PR team, a good PR person can say, oh, hey, we work with Ari Levy at CNBC from time to time. Or, hey, we know Dan Primack at Axios, and we've worked with him over a long time. So in your conversations with them, you should be able to ask sort of questions like that. Who do you like working with? And they should be able to answer very easily.
And I think another question would be, and going back to our just most recent Upright Uptake on expectations, even if we have relationships with the New York Times or CBS Morning News, things like that, you might want to ask them, where do you think we would fit right now, where we are as an agency? And then see if they have some alternative media, because your firm may not be ready for the New York Times or Fortune or CBS, but you might be ready for some industry publications or some local media or something. See what kind of ideas they have beyond those tier ones, because I think everybody wants to be in the tier one. And go back to that other episode and watch that, but just have to bring up that we may have those chops. It doesn't mean that we can get you in those publications either. So.
And another good point is, we can't know every journalist out there, but if we know one or two reporters at a particular outlet and it might not be their beat, that we can work with that. Hey, do you know person X at Bloomberg? I don't, but we work with person Y. And when it comes to pitching a story or trying to get coverage, I'll reach out to that person Y, and say, hey, we've got this client we're working with right now. We've got an interesting story. They might facilitate an introduction. They might be interested, or they may, make that connection, that direct connection we don't have. And that's as good as a direct connection in many cases.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of moves us on, I think, to the next one is, do they understand the media in your business? Not necessarily do they understand your business, which is also very important, but do they get the media there? So that's where we may have a connection that links to a connection, or we might have resources where we can research, which is another thing that we bring up. We don't know every journalist. There's thousands and thousands of journalists out there. We can't possibly know them all. But if we understand that, let's say you are in the cybersecurity industry and we've worked with other cybersecurity publications, and we know where your business could fit within those publications, and there may be new reporters. Maybe we worked with a client last year and those reporters even have changed, but we can see, have they moved on to new cybersecurity? Are there new reporters that have taken that same role that they had? We have all this research that we invest in so that we can find the right media for you as well. So if we don't know them, say, how's your research team? Can you find this information for us? If it's not something you have, do you understand the media in the industry that we're in?
There are times and clients we've had where we don't understand their business. It's complicated, and one of the things that helps us is if we don't understand the business, we talk to the clients early on. We do great information intake to understand the business as well as we can, but we're not data scientists. We're not astronauts. We're not, there, our knowledge base is firmly rooted in media and media relations. So what we try to do is we try to understand your business as well as we can, but even better, we try to understand the journalists in that space, and that's important. Now, can we tell your story if we don't know your business? That's hard. And so from there, what we try to do is get a really good understanding of your business as we work together.
That's exactly what we do. And I think one of the things we try to do when we do this with clients is make it worthwhile for them, so they're not just explaining their business to us. We'll record them. We'll use that to write some initial pieces for them, maybe some bylines that they can use and get their feedback. And it helps us to get up to speed fairly quickly. I'd say within 30 days, we usually are capable of talking the talk and hitting those key points. It takes a little time, but we always appreciate it when clients are willing to spend that time with us and really help us to dig as deep as we need to be able to feel comfortable talking to journalists and sharing the story and looking at us as an arm of your business, and then going to that subject matter expert when we secure those interviews and those things where the client's going to know what to say.
Exactly. And I think an extension of that is we always try, at least you and I, our foundation is we try not to create more work for the client. And, we very much front load our learning curve about understanding the business, how you work, the people, your clients, your customers, what you offer, so that down the road, we don't have to re-educate ourselves. And we don't have to keep coming back to you for the same information. Well, the next thing on our list is, do you feel like they're available for you? And I've taken great pride over the years where I've had several clients say to us, we feel like we're your only client. And that means a lot to me. And that's kind of the approach that we've taken. Now, this doesn't mean are we available at all hours at the drop of a hat. There are, work-life balance, boundaries, all of these things. So, I think if you're looking for an agency that's going to be there 24/7, you have to specify that. But if you're in a space that doesn't have major crises or 24/7 data breaches, there are not that many PR problems that are 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's get the team together to work on something. But likewise, you should feel like during the day, something's going on, you can pick up the phone. You don't have to feel like, oh, can you meet to discuss this next week? Each company, each client's different, but it's important to feel like you've got that relationship where your team's available for you.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think most of our clients, we're fortunate, don't have the kind of businesses where it's going to be that 3 a.m. call. And if there's a specific situation with the client, we're there to do that. I think that's also important for them to know, but it's not an expectation all the time. Just because the CEO likes to answer emails on Saturday night at 2 a.m. doesn't mean we're going to respond. So I think work-life balance is important, and being on the same page as your firm. If that CEO needs that response, find a firm that there are firms out there who I'm sure have enough staff, or maybe they're in another country and they can concentrate on that 2 a.m. email.
Well, one of the things that I've because you and I have worked in crisis communications mode or in places that do have 24/7 potential for disasters or business issues, you know, as a PR person, we're as much counselors to clients. So we can often be the voice of reason, say, you know what, this isn't a crisis issue. This is not a 11 p.m. on a Friday night matter. This is something that can wait till 9:30 on Monday, or let's just step back and see how this plays out. We think it's going to play out this way. So it's important to understand, not everything is a crisis. And, instinctually, if it's your company, if it's your business, you do think everything is a crisis. So you do need that voice of reason. That's kind of where we provide counsel as well.
And there's a very big difference between internal communication and external communication. And sometimes those crises need an internal response immediately, whereas the external response might need to be thoughtfully planned, take a little strategy. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, indeed. The other point and the other factor to look at when you're looking at a PR firm is very, very adjacent to, do you like and trust who you're talking to on the team? But the other thing is there a two-way street when it comes to respect? Uh, do you respect your PR team, and does your PR team respect you? It's one of those things that, if that two-way respect is not there, you're going to question the counsel you receive. H is going to question your rationale on a particular strategy. So it's one of those things, is you have to be very much in sync.
Mm-hmm. And communicate.
Yeah.
Communications is in our name. So, communications is the key, and make sure that it's a two-way street. Yeah.
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 Semi-related is, does your agency make unreasonable promises, or are they yes men? We've said this before. PR people by nature are people pleasers. That's an easy thing for us to do. If someone says, "Hey, can you do this?" Our gut instinct is to say yes, and then go back and figure out how to do it, whether you do it or not. That's something that took me years to beat out of my brain. If it's something we don't do well, we say it's something we don't do well. Um, if it's something that's not achievable, we say it's not achievable, and that's because go back to our last uptake, managing expectations. The last thing I want is a client coming up to us and saying, "Hey, look, I'm not happy with something they should be happy with," it's just one thing. You want to make sure that promises are being kept and they're realistic, and your agency is kicking the tires in the right way, and um, you're getting the right counsel and the right level of service.
Yeah. And if they are telling you they're going to get you in those tier one publications, and peers or similar companies aren't in those spaces, be careful, because sometimes they'll tell you they can do things, and then it feels like they've overpromised and underdelivered. And I think we try to do neither over under or under over. We try to be as accurate as we can. It's a little bit like pricing in real estate, where you don't want to overprice or underprice. We want to say, this is where we think we can get you coverage, and here's where we think we can grow from that, which might be into those tier one publications, or maybe you're already in tier one and we think we can get you in more. There's every client's different. So it really is all about trusting that PR firm, and then trusting what they say. And I don't know if there's an easy way to, other than your gut, to do that. And again, going back to, has somebody else worked with them? And, how did you learn about them? Did you see their work somewhere?
And you see this in a lot of places, on Twitter and Facebook posts and LinkedIn posts. If a PR firm says they can guarantee coverage, or they'll definitely get you coverage, they're lying. The frustrating thing about public relations is we can't guarantee coverage. We can't make a journalist write a story. It's if we've had clients over the years where I think they've got a great story, and we haven't been able to get them the coverage that I thought we could get them. But I would never say that, oh, we can definitely get you there. We can definitely get you in the New York Times or wherever. So if they're guaranteeing coverage, that's a red flag.
Especially if they say, we can definitely do this for X dollars.
Exactly. And there are a lot of agencies out there that say that.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, so those are sort of we built upon the Forbes article, and so those are sort of 10 things to consider when looking at a PR firm, or whether you're considering a good PR firm or a bad PR firm. So those are, I think, those taken together paint a pretty good picture of what you're working with a PR firm.
PR firms, again, I want to go back to that dating example. It's like, when it's right, make that list, kind of like that list of who your perfect person would be. Make that list of who would your perfect PR firm be. When are they going to be available? What kind of people are going to be working on your accounts? Do they understand your business and the media surrounding your business? And, do you have that rapport? Do you feel like you can trust them, communicate with them, and then, check those boxes, and then hire the person. So hire the firm.
and if you've gotten this far in the video, reach out to us. Not because we're looking for business, but because you've come along this way. Reach out and say, "Hey, I'm talking to this PR firm. Do you think they're any good?" And we'll probably ask you the same 10 questions that we just talked about right now. So, our email's below. Feel free to reach out. But best of luck in finding a successful PR firm. And as always, we wish you the best success. And Janie, thank you for your time and insight today.
Thank you, Paul. And thanks everyone for watching. And, email us uptake@uprightcoms.com.
Thanks, everybody.